There's a great story in the Odyssey where Ulysses visits the home of Aeolus. And now Aeolus is the king of the winds, and he has the power to control the winds and where they blow and everything. And he's going to help Ulysses get home. So he gives Ulysses a bag, and tied up in this bag are all the winds except for the west wind. The west wind is out loose and it's blowing, and it's meant to just blow Ulysses and his ship and his crew and send them back to Ithaca. And it works, and they're having this great journey, and they're cruising along through the Mediterranean. They actually see the land of Ithaca in sight, and they're all excited. And Ulysses, who's been just like probably hasn't slept for days, just falls asleep. And that's when the trouble begins. Now the crews notice that he has this bag, and remember, the other three winds are tied up in the bag, and he's holding onto it tightly and guarding it carefully. Every now and then, if he needs to steer, he might let out a little bit of wind, but mostly he's just been keeping this secure. And the crew starts to wonder, well, what is this bag? What is this prize that he has, and why isn't he sharing this treasure with us? So one of them sneaks over and carefully pulls the bag out of Ulysses' hands and opens it up. And of course, you know what happened next. All the winds just go flying out. They're blowing the ship everywhere, and it's getting left and right, and it's all confused. And basically, the whole ship gets blown off course, and it ends up taking 10 years for Ulysses to get home. Now, this story is a really cool metaphor because basically you have winds that are blowing you all around back and forth, keeping you from getting on a straight, clear course to your goal, to your Ithaca, to your adventure. And this story is the whole reason why I call this recipe for adventure, this way of hitting audacious goals. It's the reason I call this changing the wind. So let's talk a little bit more about what I mean by wind. Now, wind, as you might have guessed, is an acronym. It stands for wish, implementation, nerve, and driving value. And these are the four forces that kind of blow you around. But if you are intentional about your wind, if you take charge and say, no, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to do this, then now you can control the wind, you can change the wind, and you can have the wind drive you where you want to go, and you can work with the forces that motivate you and control you and let them get you towards your goal. And that's what we're going to talk about doing. Now, once you finish working on each of these four elements using the exercises that we're going to go through and I'm going to give to you, you're going to come up with a clear statement that proclaims your goals and also why you're going to reach them inevitably. And you'll be able to sum this all up in 2 sentences. And this is what the WIN process does. We're going to be working on that over the next few days, over the next few lessons. But first, I want you to think about something. Just start to think about what you want your life to look like 6 to 12 months from now. And more importantly, what kind of person do you have to become or do you want to become in order to make your life look like that in 6 to 12 months? And as you start to think about this, you might even want to do a journal about it, do some free writing. This is going to help you get to where your wish is, which we'll talk about in the next lesson.